Here we go. Hello, Hockey World. It is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025.
I'm Luke Ravitz.
And I am Eklund, and you're watching the Hockey Buzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. There you go. We're trying some music out. These are my friends Slow. It's actually called Slow Mo and Mike. They're everywhere they've got a bunch of albums on Spotify. So they're really cool band to go see because they have all kinds of bizarre instruments on stage and stuff like that. And they cross all kinds of genres. So anyway, that's them. But let's get into hockey. We're not here to talk music. And Luke wrote a great article today. We're going to get into that in a second. About all the three major guys who are basically making impacts. And it's kind of funny because I think the one guy who's making an impact is the guy that most people probably least expected to make the biggest impact. But we'll get into why that's happening. So, but first I want to talk about the coaches challenge rule in the NHL.
Mm-hmm. You told me you wanted to get into this.
Oh yeah. I'm on my high horse today. So essentially what's happening, I want to read you a little story that I wrote. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. All right, so here we go. The thing that I was trying to think of a scenario in the world that would mirror the ridiculousness of the way the coaches challenge works in the NHL. So this is what I came up with this in the middle of the night. It may not make any sense, but hopefully it does. But yeah, I think that it's like this is the scenario, and it kind of puts you in the position that you're in. Here we go. I'm sorry. Here we go. I can do this. I know you do this. Here we go. Cool. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do this dramatically. Okay, so imagine this. You're in a foreign country. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can read better. Sorry. You're in a foreign country. You're in a busy bank and have just taken out money. The bank lobby is full of people pushing their way around, and it gives you a general uneasy feeling. Suddenly, you're comforted by the fact that you see two armed guards, one on each side of the bank. So you stuff your money in your pocket of your coat, and you push your way out through the crowd. There's a sense of relief when you get through the rushing people and step outside the bank. You reach into your pocket to check if your money is there, and you feel nothing. Your heart drops. Your money is gone. Someone must have robbed you on the way out. Very upset, you go back into the bank, up to one of the guards, and say, "I think I was robbed." And you want to explain what happened. The guard looks at you and says, "Okay, but in our country, it's against the law to fake being robbed. It can be up to 30 days in jail." You say, "But I was robbed," I said. "I know I was." You reply, but you start thinking about it a little bit. You start saying, question your own thoughts. Man, you were nervous. You were racing out. Maybe the money fell out of your pocket. You weren't actually robbed. Maybe you weren't actually robbed. At that point, you feel a sense of relief as you notice there's a security camera right there above the guard. And you say to him, "The camera, you have it on tape." "Yes, we do. However, we can only check the camera footage if you request it," the guard says. "I request it." And he says, "Are you certain you want me to do that?" You say, "Of course." The guard starts into a statement that you can tell he's read many times before. "So before you make your decision, I have to remind you that if it's not 100% proof on that camera that you will be charged with faking a robbery, you will go to jail." What do you do? All right. So what do you do? You're in the space, and that is, of course, a badly thought out metaphor of the coach challenge, which is that we've seen it twice now, late in two games, both involving two of the biggest teams in Canada, Montreal and Toronto, where a puck was shot apparently out of the rink without hitting anything. And yet the ref said it was clear out, but the Leafs, the other teams on the ice said, "No, it definitely hit the glass." All this stuff happened. The ref said it hit the glass. I'm sorry, other way around. The ref said it hit the glass. The Leafs and Canadians said it went straight out. There's only like 4 minutes left in each game. So then each game is like a 1-goal game or tied.
Mm-hmm.
So now the referees are just standing around, and they go to the coaches, right? And the coaches have to look at it and say, "Okay, is there going to be a conclusive thing? Because it's got to be conclusive to be overturned. Do we have the right camera angle? We got to go through all this stuff." And Martin St. Louis in Montreal goes for it, and and they say it's not conclusive, even though it. People have all kinds of theories in Montreal about this puck spinning weird ways and all those kind of things,
yeah.
which I'm sure you've heard. But then, so they face a penalty. Fortunately, they kill it off. They go to overtime. Everything's okay, but that penalty could have ended the game for them right there. Toronto last night in the 2-2 game, in what I thought was even a more blatantly straight out shot because of physics.
Yeah.
Like here's the thing. So they don't but Ruby doesn't challenge it at all because he's afraid of that. He doesn't want to go shorthanded, like, and he doesn't know.
I think that the last 5 minutes of each game, it should be like the NFL where the last 2 minutes of the game it's automatically reviewed.
Yeah.
I feel like it would save a lot of coaches a lot of energy and time on deciding whether or not they should challenge it, because if it's not successful, then you're getting another penalty, which can cost you the game. So the NHL should implement a rule to, I don't know, whether it's the last 5 minutes or the last 2 minutes, either way.
My opinion, the last 5 minutes of a regular season game,
yeah,
the last period and overtime of a playoff game. Like that's how I would see it. Because it's like,
I 100% agree.
Because we can get it right. And the whole argument for this, why this coach's challenge thing was put together as a penalty, but originally was just a timeout, which is what it still is in college, right? You lose a timeout.
I don't know for sure.
I think that's what it is. I think I remember seeing that.
I think it's timeout in college.
Okay, just lose a timeout.
That's what it is in USA hockey too. It's
right, and that is still kind of bizarre because if you challenge because you only get one challenge. So there could be like possibility, like if something else happens in the game, you don't know whether you should challenge this or not.
You can, you wouldn't be able to, yeah.
Right, and why are we putting that into the coach's world? Like this is a referee thing. This is clearly
it's a miscall by them.
Yeah, it's a miscall by them, and they should want to get it right instead of seeing who's going to roll the dice or who's not going to roll the dice.
I don't even think that was the craziest non-call in that Leafs game.
Okay, what else do you have?
I don't know if you saw this, but there was a play where I think it was Ridley Gregg in front of the net, and Stollarts was absolutely just giving it to him. Back of the neck. A few slashes in there. I mean, you could say that it's like competitiveness and getting under their skin, but that's still a penalty at the end of the day, even though he's the goalie. Like, he wasn't in the crease. He was outside, just standing there. And I mean, that's happened to me where I've been in front of the net and just gotten slashed, and it's got called a few times. Other times it didn't, but it's just a little weird. Like,
right? No, you should, because like this is like a hockey. First of all, a goalie stick doesn't feel that good to get hit with.
Yeah,
it's
not nice.
No, and you're not expecting to get hit from behind when you're there. Like you're not going to think if you're screening the goalie, you're not expecting him to hit you. So that's there's a lot of things there that go on, right?
Also,
go ahead.
Did you see the late game yesterday with the Joel Eriksson got slew-footed? I don't know if you saw it.
I'm old. I fell asleep. Unfortunately, I haven't watched the game yet. But he got slew-footed.
There was a play. I think it was in the third period where Eriksson just got completely slew-footed and just no call. It was just like,
the heck.
It's weird. But like the playoffs itself have been great this year.
Oh, the playoffs have been great. We're going to get to that.
Just the refereeing is a little.
Yeah, I don't mean to start with a negative. I'm not even blaming the referees. I'm blaming the rule. Like the rule is like the situation. The referees are put in a weird spot because this is the rule.
Yeah.
And what's weird about this, the last thing I'll say about it is this: like the whole idea of this delaying the game is kind of bogus, because when you're watching watching it on TV, we have a highlight within 30 seconds that tells us what happened.
Yeah. You already know what it is anyway.
Before the coach decides to challenge, they're saying whether he should or should not challenge. Like it's already. That's so we have the technology to do this. Why are we to me it's Bush League, and I get particularly my guard up on this stuff because I'm a hockey fan from when hockey wasn't even really considered a sport in America almost. Like it's like in the 80s and 90s. I mean, when Joe Gretzky came around, which kind of put it on the map a little bit, hockey was really, really like below everything else by far.
Yeah.
And so I've always wanted. I've admired the fact that I think Gary Bettman's done a great job at making hockey way more mainstream than it ever was with me when I was a kid.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, so when I see them doing something this stupid, like that, and they do, like I've been in Gary Bettman's office, right, and he has a couple things that are funny in there. Like one, he has a 4-foot tall Lego Stanley Cup. which I don't know. I guess was just made by Lego, particularly for him, because I've always wanted that. That's amazing. I'd build a Lego Stanley Cup in a second. And the other thing he has is 3 televisions on the wall. And I was wondering what he would be watching during the day. Like I would figure it'd be NHL Network, maybe some like games, whatever. He's watching the NFL Network, the MLB Network, and the NBA Network on the wall. So
that's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, because his job, as he sees it, like I've been to lunch with him, and his job, as he sees it, is that it's a sport. He's competitive, and those are his competitors. Like that if the NHL's competitors are those 3 leagues, and that's how he sees it. So all the more reason why I just can't fathom this as being something. And I know they've brought it up at these GM meetings and at the governor's meetings, something like that. And I know it's been they just haven't done anything about it.
That's
like
weird.
They haven't done
weird.
Yeah, like they haven't done anything about the LTIR rule, which is so ridiculous.
That's also another crazy topic too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. But let's get into, because obviously Matthew Tkachuk looked pretty good last night.
Yeah. Great game for him.
Yeah, so let's get into the games last night too, and then we'll get into the articles too. So, what's been your favorite series so far?
I've got to go with either the Stars Avalanche series, or I mean, it's hard to say right now because a few teams have only played a game.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Oilers Kings as well, and I think the Leaf series will be a good one too. But
yeah, me too.
I don't the Oilers Kings one. I knew like from the start, it's been their 4th straight year playing against each other, so I knew that was gonna be a tough, hard fought series. And I mean, we saw that with game 1. I mean, they were down 4-0 and almost came back and won it. McDavid had 4 points.
That was
so. I mean, he's just ridiculous.
That game was crazy. That was like welcome to the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's like that's what you think.
I think that series for sure will go either 6 or 7.
Yeah, and the Oilers lost that game, but I felt like they kind of won it in a way. You know what I mean? Because like they had in the 3 games they played, we talked about this before. I think in the 3 games they played against the Kings, the last 3 games they played against the Kings in the regular season, the Oilers only scored 1 goal in 3 games.
Yeah,
and in that game, it looked like after 2 periods, and we're heading for the same place. Like this is like, and if they go get shut out or score 1 goal in that game, the Oilers are like the Kings.
I think the Oilers will win tonight.
Yeah,
it's going to be a way closer game. Probably a 2-1, 3-2 type of game.
Yeah, that is if they get goaltending.
Yeah, I mean they haven't had goaltending in years.
No.
So I mean they've been carried by their star power offense. They have, and another thing I'll say is like, I just don't think their defense is just the same as maybe last year, the year before. They have Bouchard on their power play, quarterbacking that, but what Clefbaum still hurt.
Yeah.
I mean Nurse is fine, but he's overpaid in my opinion.
I agree.
And the Kings overall are just so good, like nonstop. They're every place in their game. Their offense,
they really are.
Penalty kill, power play.
They're way better than I thought they were. They're way better than I thought they were in the beginning of the season, and their speed is crazy. Like their speed is But the Oilers do have to get goaltending, or else they're going to just have to outscore them. And that's what they're having to do. So I haven't heard yet if Picard is going tonight or not. Calvin Picard.
Let me see.
I don't know if they probably haven't said it yet because they usually don't.
Yeah, they usually wait till a few hours before the game.
Yeah, but I would say he has to be going tonight.
They need something.
Yeah, I mean Skinner was just
not good.
No, and you can't, and the team doesn't have confidence now. And as a player, like if your goalie's good, you play differently.
I also think like Draisaitl just needs to step up a little bit more. For me, it seems like when I watch him play, when he gets the puck, he's always moving, whatever, head is always up. But when he doesn't have the puck, it kind of seems like he's just like waiting for something to happen.
I agree.
So, I mean, if the Oilers want to make this a series, he's going to have to put some points on the board and help them produce. They also don't have Dylan Holloway or Philip Broberg they're both on the Oilers now. They were on that Cup team last year. So they were both underrated pieces that they didn't think they needed. And I mean, we'll see if that pays off. I don't know. They've been looking good on the Blues so far.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree with you. And I think that Draisaitl is playing in such a way that I wonder if he's actually playing hurt. Like I feel like that seems like what he's doing.
I mean, him and McDavid were definitely banged up at the end of the year. So
David seems healthier though, but I think that Draisaitl is doing a little bit of that coasting that is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if he doesn't want to get too physically involved because he's hurt. Because he usually gets more physically involved.
It's weird. It's really
Yes,
weird.
so who knows? But that's the kind of thing we won't know.
I think Skinner's expected to play. I don't
He's
know.
expected to play. Okay, well,
that's what it says, but who knows what happens game time? And
it's funny because that team, I've talked to 2 players on that team, like off the record, and they really love Pickard. Like he's like a popular guy in the room. He's like he's got a great attitude about everything. Skinner's like more intense. And that, it just, as a forward, I've heard this many times, like it calms you down and you're willing to take a couple more chances and be a little more aggressive when your goalie's solid.
I 100% agree. When you have the insurance back there, the brick wall or whatever, if you just know that your goalie is going to help you out, there's nothing to stress about. And it makes your game a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
So, and also, I think, honestly, it's the defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a defenseman growing up, so I don't know as much, but I feel like as a defenseman, it's like it's a little more at ease for them.
Oh, for sure.
They're not getting blamed as much.
And suddenly they can pinch at the blue line a little bit easier.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, as long as you have that third forward support, you're fine.
You're okay. I mean, I agree. And that plays. So the goalie is like, when people say the goalie doesn't affect the offense, it really does. It really, and people don't realize how much it affects it, because this game of hockey is like, I always thought it was like 33% skill, 33% momentum, and 33% confidence. Like those 3 things play together. Like, it's got to be, well, and if you want to do it in 20, let's do this: 25% skill, 25% momentum, 25% confidence, and 25% tenacity. Like whether you're going to really go for it or not. Like those are the 4 things you have to have on your side. If you're a skilled team that isn't working hard is not going to beat a non-skilled team that is working hard in the NHL. That's going to happen.
Everyone's good.
Yeah, everyone's good, right? And the difference between these teams is, we say that this team's so much better than that team. It's really not the case. There really is such a small difference.
Yeah, there's a few players that are definitely
right.
Team win the game, but in terms of skill, every team is good in the NHL.
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, I've known that from like playing. Like I've been the goalie of the media, the U.S. media versus the Canadian media. When we go to like the Winter Classic or the Stanley Cup Finals later this year, I will do it again. I got to get in shape for it, but I'll do it again. And the weird thing about it is, like, the Canadian media is, a lot of ex-NHL players. So I'm going against guys, and even the U.S. media. But I'll go against Bissonnette and all those characters will all be on the other team. And I don't know why I'm the only media guy, that's a goalie that plays in this thing. So I got to face guys that I'm like not at all ready to face. And people don't realize like the levels. Like you've seen the levels because you've gone up in youth hockey. Like the levels that exist. Like there's not just like intermediate. There's not just good, medium, good, and great. There's just 30,000 levels in between.
Yeah. You
And the best team in the world can go like. You might think you're the best team in the world, but then you could face somebody tomorrow that's just way better.
Way better. Yeah.
That happened with me when I was a kid because I played for the Gladiators in New Jersey for a bit, and they were the weird thing about that was like I'm sorry, I didn't play for the Gladiators. My friend played for the Gladiators. That's how old I'm getting. Confusing my stories. My friend played for the Gladiators, and they put together a team from South Jersey. This is when there was only like a few rinks around. This is like you're talking about like the 80s.
The Coliseum.
Yep. And there were a few rinks in the whole tri-state area of Jersey and Pennsylvania and Delaware. So they put together an all-star team. These are the best players of all. And they went up to Canada for a tournament. And they played in Sherbrooke, Canada, which is like a suburb of Montreal. And they were up, and they were really fired up about it. They're like, this is going to be, this is going to be great. They played in a tournament versus Sherbrooke. The first game they played was against the Sherbrooke C team. So that was the third team, the third best team in Sherbrooke. And they were down 10-0 in the first period.
I mean, that's how it goes. I've had tournaments up in Boston, Montreal, and Niagara Falls, like everywhere. And like we'd play teams that we've never heard of, and we'd think, oh, this should be easy game.
Yeah.
Get walked out of the park.
Like, that's some of
those games that are like that. So
yeah, that's how hockey is, and there's so many levels.
And then you're on the other side of it where you will destroy another team, but you have to remember it could happen to you soon. So
I know, and it's so when I play against these guys, I just got to get in position. I got to do my best I can, and like one time I stopped Cassie Campbell, who's like a famous female Canadian. Probably she's like the Gretzky of female Canada hockey, and she's retired now. And I stopped her on a breakaway with my glove hand, and I was like, I felt like just dropping down my equipment and leaving. Like that's it. I'm done. I did it.
Exactly.
So there you have it. All right, so let's move on to the next game, the next series. So we talked about Edmonton. I think, and the Dallas one. Let's go to Dallas, Colorado. That has been
that's been a weird series, really weird series, because the first game was all Avalanche.
Yeah,
and the Stars had zero response whatsoever, and everyone kind of just like wrote them off and said the series was over.
Yeah,
and then game 2 happens. It's kind of a back and forth game, and then just the Stars just get a lucky break and late in the third, score, and then the overtime goal is really weird. Where who was the one that scored? It was Mark?
No, he's like a obscure player. I know.
What's his name? Let me find it.
Okay. Yeah, he's not a guy. They actually interviewed him on Hockey Night in Canada, I think it was. I saw.
Who was it? It was Colin Blackwell.
Colin Blackwell, yeah.
He kind of just shot it like a little floater on net.
Yeah.
The rebound was just sitting in front. No one on either team knew where it was besides him, and he just chased the puck and just shot it. And like that's how you win playoff games. Just knowing where to be and capitalizing on other teams' mistakes. I mean, that's what Blackwell really did. So he really kept the Stars in the playoffs really there.
I agree.
Going down 2-0, being away in Colorado, that team they have there. So I mean that goal was series changing. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen tonight. I think it's going to be another like 1-goal type game tonight. Yeah. I expect Johnston to have a huge game for the Stars. He's been kind of quiet.
Yeah. He has been.
And obviously the leaders of Ben and Sagan, they need to step up.
Yeah, for sure.
And then as far as the Avalanche, I mean, they know what to do. They won the Cup a few years ago. They have 2 of the top 3 players in the world. So there's nothing to be said for them, really. They just have to stick to their game. And
I agree.
Fix those little mistakes, which is why they lost the game the other day.
One advantage I think Dallas has, that even though like the regular season records don't show it, I think Ottinger's a better goalie.
Oh, 100%. Not even Ottinger's the top 5 goalie in the league.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't have the greatest year, but
he'll be fine. He's had a rough startish, so he'll find his game. I think this series will go 6 or 7 as well.
Yeah, I do too. I think it is a hot, these are 2 teams that either one could like win the Stanley Cup kind of. So it's an interesting thing when and along with that, we'll go to Tampa and Florida, same kind of scenario. That game last night was good.
No, someone in the comments just said the Dallas team is dead. Like I would agree with that, but I mean they just won last game, so they're not. If they lost, I would 100% agree with you. Where
it's going to come down to game 3. Like if that momentum carries over,
game 3 is the changing point of the series for both teams.
Yeah, it's always the odd number games. I've noticed this in the playoffs. It's game 1, 3, 5, and 7 that are like the big games because they're determine like what's going to happen really in the rest of the series sometimes. If they can steal game 3 in Colorado, then Colorado starts questioning themselves. They get confidence, and that rises up. So that's completely.
Yeah, Dallas can just not take penalties at all either. If they take penalties, I mean, they're going to lose the game. That's just the Colorado power play is just too dangerous now. So especially with the loss of Robertson, Heiskanen, we'll see when they come back. I don't know if they're going to be able to come back.
I don't think Heiskanen's coming back.
So
Robinson might.
I think Thomas Harley has been unbelievable for the Stars since
he really has.
He made the 4 Nations tournament based off of a injury of Makar, and he played pretty good there. He's been solid his whole career, but for some reason this playoffs he's been stepping up his game a lot. He scored a goal. So he's going to be a big force for the Stars team if they want to make it far.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that you're talking about, again, confidence. Like, I think he was good before the 4 Nations. He was a good defensive solid. But, goes to the 4 Nations, that's for Canada, that's a huge thing. So that you're one of the 6 defensemen playing for Canada in that tournament.
He's actually American. He was born in Syracuse, I believe.
Is he? Didn't he play for Canada, though, right?
Parents are Canadian, so
okay, so he played for Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, that jerk! Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Going over to the other side. So yeah, so I my favorite series by far is the Florida Lightning series.
Yeah, it's a weird series too so far. I mean, no one really expected that game one to be like that. Who would have thought?
It just has drama like all over the place, and it has like so many storylines. It's so easy to write about. Like, obviously, Kucherov came back a few years ago after not playing. Tampa went out and made some trades, and they beat the Panthers in the playoffs. And the Panthers thought that was unfair. They peeled the league. They thought that was terrible. And the Panthers reversed that with Chuck this year and getting Marchand. So, and Kachuk,
they're on the same team now. I mean, they're very similar players. Players hate playing against them.
I know exactly right. They do.
I did not expect Kachuk to be back last night either. I thought
he'd be
gone for at least the whole series.
No, I knew he'd be good. I knew he'd be back because they were. I really felt like they were Kucheroving it. Because I mean, remember he played even hurt in the Four Nations a couple times. So and that was a long time ago. So I felt like he was going to be okay, and he was okay. He started off shaky a little bit. I just first couple shifts, it looked like I was wondering.
The first one was really nice, set up in front, and then the second one was just got right. The puck went right to him, and Vasilevsky wasn't ready at all. So
he's just got this attitude on his face, like when he scores, that just really takes other teams off and really gives your team confidence. It's just something like
he's one of those guys you just hate playing against but love playing with. So
and he carries.
You love to have those guys on your team, and they bring the playoff hockey. Like they're the ones that embrace it and play that style, and everyone else kind of just follows them. That's why the Panthers won the cup last year. They always got into that physical style where like they're never letting down. They may not blow you out, but like they're just going to dominate you. So, and I thought the Lightning were going to win game one yesterday too.
Yeah. So I thought they might too, because I mean, I think this Lightning team is extremely good. I don't think that they're just a little bit good. I think their
offense is extremely good. I think their defense looked very slow yesterday. I mean, they couldn't keep up with them. They couldn't. And I felt bad for Vasilevsky. I mean, came to a point where.
Yeah, I mean, he had given up 6 goals on 16 shots, and that was like crazy. Think about that, like for him.
Yeah, he's never usually like that. So,
but Florida's always done that. Florida gets outshot all the time. They tend to take the really good shots and make most of them. Sam Bennett too, just like that first goal when he tipped it out of the air. You see that one?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I mean, he's a UFA coming up this summer, guys. I'm wondering if he keeps playing like that. I mean, I think Florida believes they can sign him.
Bennett and Reinhart have been so good the last few years for them. Perfect. Zito's been doing a really good job just building up that team.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in the playoffs like 3 or 4 years ago. They were always there, but they could never beat Tampa, or they could never beat who was it? Boston, I think.
Yeah.
Or Carolina. Yeah, one of them. Boston. But like last year, they finally just got over that hump. And they also lost to Vegas in the finals too.
Yeah. No,
they've always the past 5 years they've really built themselves up for a really good team, and I mean,
absolutely.
Showing.
I think he's a brilliant GM. I think he's the smartest GM in the league, honestly. Talking to a bunch of different GMs, he, like I've said before, but people have heard this, but I got to know him a lot when he was an agent, and he represented guys like Tim Thomas, and he represented Kimmo Timonen, and just he always had a big Finnish connection with him, because then this is why, because he wasn't the big name agent. He just was the agent that if he wanted to sign players, he had to find the diamonds in the rough. That was his thing, because he wasn't like Pat Brisson or something like that. He was like his agency was small. He built it from the ground up, but he ended up like
everyone in the game right now.
Right. So as like if you're a player, Pat Brisson comes up to you and you're like, whoa, he wants to be represented by him. That's great. That seems great. Zito comes up to you, was like, oh, back then Zito was like a small agency with like 5 or 6 players. But the reality was that go if you want. I would tell players. I had players ask me for advice, or like young guys ask me for advice to what to do with an agent, and I always said, listen, you got to go where you're going to be given the most attention. That's honestly what it comes down to. Pat Brisson has a great name, and people are going to but that's not going to get you on the team. It's like, Zito is gonna. You're gonna be like a major focus for him because Pat Brisson has Sidney Crosby. Like he's got to focus on those guys who are making all that money, right? So you're talking about. So yeah, I always thought it was better, like, and guys. So the guys they brought up, like Brian Rafalski, this was Zito guys, like John Madden, the old captain of that team, and and just he really had he had it going on. He knows what he's doing. So he's taking that to the NHL and found guys like Verhaeghe before he was really good.
Verhaeghe's been unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, he was basically being like anybody could have had him from Tampa. It was like and then so now he's like a crazy Bennett in Calgary was just like just good, but he couldn't get it together there. He's and same thing with Reinhart in Buffalo. These guys were all like underachieving where they were.
Yeah, and so it's similar to like the Knights, I guess, from their expansion draft. It's kind of like guys that weren't appreciated before and
exactly
came together and gelled, and kind of saw that with the Cup team last year.
I agree. Totally agree. Okay, so that series though, you can tell that. I mean, just Marchand was good last night. And people have been talking about Marchand has not been playing well for them. He was good last night.
Yeah, he's been definitely getting better as each game goes on. Just getting I mean, he's played in the same team his whole career, so can't really go to another team and play exactly. They have different systems.
Yeah,
he has to get used to it. So he'll be fine. And then another player that really stuck out to me in the Panthers team is Barkov. I mean, he is so underrated with everything he does.
Yeah,
every little play he makes sure it's correct. Doesn't really take penalties often. I mean, he's the true leader of that team. I mean, you have Kachuk, who is the vocal leader, but I mean, Barkov just leads by example every game. I mean, that's why they have success. So
totally.
I'm actually really surprised that it was that big of a blowout.
Yeah, I am too. I don't think it will be again. I think
the wake-up call for Tampa, though. Really good Tampa call.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
But this is the thing they have there is Vasilevsky. Well, both two goalies who both won the Stanley Cup, right? But Bob, if I had one goalie to win a game with, it would be Bobrovsky. Like he just has this ability. Because there's Vasilevsky's solid through the season and solid in the playoffs. Bob's like okay in the season, pretty good in the season, and then
you can't score him in the playoffs.
No, he just finds another level altogether.
Yeah,
like he stopped at least 2 or 3 one-timer cross plays that with every other game you watch this season, you're like, that's a goal.
Yeah.
It's not. And he also does
7 minutes ago, according to Pierre LeBrun,
Yeah.
Heiskanen is skating in Denver. So
really,
it's interesting.
All right. That's surprising.
I don't know if he'll play tonight, but maybe in the series for sure.
Well, if he's skating, what that probably means is the Dallas will bring him in if they fall down
like
by another game or two.
Yeah,
if Bedell takes a 3-1 lead, they won't bring him in because
they don't need him then.
Yeah, and they can let him rest more. But yeah, another thing Bobrovsky does really well that people I don't think give him enough credit for. I think he does it better than anybody in the league. He did it when he was with the Flyers, even. Is he knows when to freeze the puck and stop the play. Like he
doesn't let up a lot of rebounds.
He doesn't let up a lot of rebounds, but he also feeds off the momentum because if a team's flying around there, he won't just and a puck comes in on him. He'll just wait, let the guy skate in on it and freeze it, as opposed to many goalies who try to play it out. Because he knows that face-offs slow things down. They stop momentum.
And he players a breather.
Yeah, and the fans kind of calm down a little bit, and all this stuff happens. So he's very good at that. He's really, his rebound control is incredible, but that is something he's really good at, and that's a brainy thing for him to do. Like he just not enough goalies. I've always never understood why goalies didn't do that more often.
Yeah, throughout his career, he's been great with the playoffs every year. It's so hard to score in him. When he was first with the Flyers, like his issue was twofold. One, he went down way too soon, and people were shooting high on him all the time. Yeah,
and the other was he was a nervous wreck. And why the Flyers got rid of him was they wanted him to go in a playoff game and he just got too nervous right before the game was thrown. But a lot of guys throw up or whatever, get nervous, but he was obviously not able to play.
What's the Flyers played?
Yeah, like he was just totally nervous about it. It was just really. He was younger. He's overwhelmed him. So he had to overcome that. And the Flyers said the Flyers at that time with Ed Snyder, they're like, yeah, if a guy's like that, we get him out of here. Like we need people who can play. Like he's a good goalie, but we can't have a goalie freak out on us at the last second and not play. So that's why the Flyers moved him. But over time, and he figured that out obviously because he's the best goalie in
now. Looking back. Could have just had him the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, going from the worst playoff goalie to the best playoff goalie.
Yeah, it's insane now to think about.
Yeah, it's really nuts.
That's crazy.
But I was saying about Bennett is a free agent, and what's interesting about that is I've heard all year that that Florida felt like they could get him. They had a deal that we were really close to it, and it might have been like a thing where they have a deal and they're not going to say anything because Zito follows the Lamoriello thing a little bit, where you can, you talk to a player, he's like, well, I'm going to sign you for this amount. Don't worry about it. But I don't want people to know that yet because I'm going to be making other deals around. I want them to feel like I'm weak. So he'll leave that off the table.
And maybe right now they don't want to do anything just because the playoffs are going on. Like they don't want
I think that they are. I think
you think it's already done, and
I think it's already done.
Or playoffs to be over.
It's already done, but this is just an opinion. No one will tell me anything about this time of year. So this is just an opinion. So no wagering on this. But the idea here is that, I think one of two things happen. If it is already done, which I assume it's close, because they did admit that they were close. So I think if it's close enough, they got it right. But here's the thing: it's not done. And say Bennett becomes the MVP of the playoffs, or something like crazy happens like that, and then Bennett says, you know what, that $7 or $8 million a year you're offering me, I know I can get $12 million from the Flyers, that kind of thing.
But the thing with him is why would he want to? Yes, he wants more, but
yeah,
he gets to live in Florida.
No, it's tax free. No, I know that's true.
He's on a Stanley Cup contending team still, so Flyers are still in that rebuild kind of phase right now. I mean, every player is different of what they want.
There are for example, a good example of that is Tarasenko, right? Tarasenko was with the Panthers last year, won the Stanley Cup. He always wanted to play in Florida. I figured he would only go to Florida to play at that point. And I figured for sure that was going to be no problem at all getting him signed again.
Yeah. Maybe it's just they were drafted around the same time, I feel like, too. So they're probably the same age.
Yeah, I think you think Bennett's a little bit younger. Bennett's more McDavid's age. I think Tarasenko's a little bit older. Bennett played on the line
in the 2014 draft, I think.
Right. Bennett, I think, played on the line with McDavid. The chat room, you can tell us. But I think at the Erie Otters, I think he was in the chat room. Let us know if you guys.
That was Strom.
Yeah.
I don't think that was Bennett.
That wasn't Bennett.
It was. I know Strom was definitely on his team, so I don't know.
Yeah. I know they know each other. They're friendly with each other. And Bennett has, if he does become a UF unrestricted free agent, he is suddenly the biggest unrestricted free agent.
Yeah. There's not too many this year.
It's not a good year for me. My rumor mill and stuff like that. It's not going to be the greatest summer because we have a lot of there's not that many. I do think we'll see a lot of trades. That's going to happen. So because teams are going to have to do that. But yeah, all right. So let's see what let's get into your article here before you leave. So you read a great article today on 3 of the players, Ryan Leonard, Zach Boehm, and Snuggerud, who I covered his dad, so that makes me feel old. Anyway, talk about these players and the impact you think they could have in the playoffs.
Yeah, so we'll start off first with Capitals forward Ryan Leonard. Recently just signed his ELC right before the playoffs started. Played 3 to 5 games, and he was getting comfortable, feeling out the team, and he looked good. He was hitting, scored a goal, had a few assists, I believe. So, we've talked about him before. He has that veteran presence on the team.
Yeah.
He's playing on a line right now with Stanley Cup champion Lars Eller and Andrew Mangiapane. So 2 very good, skilled forwards.
Yeah.
Right now they are slotted on I think it's the 3rd line.
I think it's the 3rd line, but sometimes their 3rd and 4th line switch around a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's put in a great spot right now.
Yeah,
it's the third line. So, and he's not really he has high expectations, but
yeah.
like he shouldn't have to think about that right now. Like he's only a rookie, so
not really. And then they don't want to put that on him, So
yeah,
this is why you're seeing his times. His times are only about 11 minutes a game right now in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's 11. He got 11:27 last game.
Yeah,
had a shot and 2 hits. So for a rookie, that's not bad. I mean, you just came from college, taking classes like less than a month ago, and now you're in the NHL playoffs. So can't really ask for too much, but he's been playing pretty solid so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume the Caps are gonna advance. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
we're gonna see a lot more of him, and
yeah,
I mean what he is known for is just his clutch scoring ability in important times. He led the whole country in game-winning goals and goals this past year. So
yeah,
he's someone that just keep your eye on him, and he's gonna be a force for the Capitals.
I think the Capitals are handling it perfectly right now, actually. And I think you'll see more of him on the road than you saw at home, because I think the issue of the pressure of him making a big mistake in the home building is a lot more like, so he's going to, and also just the intensity of the crowd cheering them on. And he's a real emotional person, like rides off of emotion. He could get himself caught in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's
away games would probably be better for him. Just
I
think he also he likes the, like, I remember back in the World Juniors both years where he was involved in some drama, and the crowd would just go out on him, and he loved it. He loved that. He loved proving them wrong and scoring that game winner. So I think he'll be good. He'll be going up against Demidov. So I think Demidov is also, I believe, paired on that third line.
Yeah, he is kind of getting that kind of time now. I think that'll increase.
Yeah, I don't think he did not play that much last game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll increase rapidly as the series goes. Like right now, the Canadians played basically like a perfect road game in that game. They really did. They played.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have Demidov slide with on the second line.
Okay,
with Alex Newhook and Patrick Laine. So
he wasn't always on that line.
I guess they just moved him up.
They pulled him off sometimes.
They switched him with Gallagher. So
occasionally they could go back and forth, But I'm looking forward to an article next from you about Demidov and what you see in his game. That'll be fun. So so that's and then we go to Zach.
Are we doing Zeev?
Oh, Zeev, not Zach. Zeev, sorry. Zeev.
Yeah, so I mean, Zeev played 2 games so far. Got around 12 to 13 minutes of ice time each game. First game, he had a shot and 2 hits. And then game 2 didn't really do much. It was a -2, but with him it's a little different because his college season went a lot longer than both the other 2. He's also a defenseman, which adds to it.
His first game was in the playoffs.
And his first ever game. He was the first Wild player ever to make their debut in the playoffs, which is crazy. It's a historic organization. So for him to be the first, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And he's paired up with Zach Bogosian, who he's a veteran leader. Yeah. But they're very different, I would say, their games. So watching them play together is kind of weird, but I mean, it was a second game in the NHL.
It takes a while to work with your partner, like your defensive partner. That's a big thing, and it takes a while to learn their.
So, I mean, I was watching him just clearly yesterday, and the little plays he was making were good.
Yeah,
you could just tell at times he was a little nervous. I mean, it happens.
And, of course. I mean, how could it not? Like, they interviewed him in the first game.
A lot of pressure. I think there's way more pressure on him than the other 2 guys.
Yeah, defenseman is the case. Like, and he's going to be their best defenseman. He's going to be their best defenseman eventually. Like, there's no question about that. So, but right now, I think when they interviewed him, they said, when they interviewed him, they asked him the question that you always ask what's the difference between college hockey and this, whatever. And normally
speed and physics.
It's speed.
It's
but
so
then
fast.
The difference in speed for the playoffs too.
Yeah, it's insane. So
jumping from college hockey to the NHL playoffs against a team like that, against Vegas.
And he's also quarterbacking their power play too.
Yeah. No, and
he didn't even play a game for them this year. So that just shows how much trust they have in him.
Oh yeah. And I think that they've told him when he's not on the power play, I feel like he's got the mentality of I'm just not going to screw up. Like
yeah, and that's all he's really asked to do right now. Just
really, that's all he needs to.
Yeah. So he'll be good. It's just tough. They had a really good game yesterday.
Yeah,
Wild went up, so it's tied 1-1 now, and I think the Knights are going to take this one. But if the Wild continue to,
I think the Wild have a shot though. The Wilds have a definite shot.
The Kaprizov goal yesterday to make it 4-0. It should have never. I mean, it was a turnover on a 2-on-1, and Kaprizov it was a floor 5-hole shot, and Hill had it, leaned back, and the puck just went in. So
yeah. How much when you're watching him? How much when you're watching Kaprizov do you think that is where Michkov is heading?
Yeah, they play very similarly. Obviously, Kaprizov's way better playmaker right now.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw that sauce to Boldy.
Yeah,
and Boldy just and Kaprizov is out for most of the year too. So he's been so dangerous so far. He is 4 points right now.
He's a legend. He's a legend there, and they love him.
He is 5. He's 5. He's leading the playoffs. He's tied with Scheifele right now with 5.
For 5 points, right?
And he didn't even play the whole year. So
yeah, Scheifele was kept off of Team Canada, right? It's just insane. But yeah, then we get to Snuggerud. The difference I see between Snuggerud is that they're playing him more, obviously.
Yeah.
He's like playing 20 minutes a game, and also you got to understand the way the playoff pressure works. Like the Capitals are expected to win. That if the mistakes made, that's horrible. The Wild aren't expected to win, but the Wild have had such bad. They're like the Maple Leafs of the West.
In the first round, they never.
Yeah, so there's pressure on them to like do something here. So
Snuggerud, he's first game he had 16.5 minutes. Vice time, and then second game he had 20, and then he had the power play goal, 2 block shots. I mean, and also with the absence of Holloway, he's getting that second line minutes going right now. And I mean, if you watch on that power play, he is looking to score every time he touches that puck. He takes a look at the net. If it's not there, he looks wherever his teammates are. But his shot making ability, he can shoot from any angle. And I mean, you saw it. And if you watched any of his highlights from Minnesota,
I've seen a lot of
years. He's just a talented goal scorer. So he's right now probably playing the best out of the 3, but he's been given the most ice time. And the Blues, they weren't really like not supposed to be here, but they weren't supposed to be here.
They weren't supposed to be here, and they're playing with house money right now, honestly.
Exactly.
And the one thing I'm impressed with is how much better he is than his dad, which I want to find out eventually. Like I think I have his dad's very old number somewhere. Probably doesn't count, but I would love to hear his dad say the same thing.
Yeah, and also Snuggerud he's always looking to get the puck. I've seen him play a few times live, and he's all like, if he's you wouldn't think of him as a defenseman, but he's always looking to get the puck, create plays, and get the puck going in the offensive zone. So he's always wants the puck, which is a great thing to have. Someone said Evander Kane is in tonight.
Oh my goodness! All right,
wow. So that's pretty big for the Oilers.
If he's healthy, it's big.
Scoring, just like the team itself, they need that like jolt of energy. That series is already crazy. It'll make it even crazier. I think because he's going to get into it with people, and he definitely does give them a little more attitude, a little more swagger. But he also was really hurt, and people were telling me that they didn't think even a month ago that they wanted to play again. So I don't know how healthy he is. Maybe they're just using him as like a decoy type of back. I mean, or I think not a decoy, but I think they're looking for an emotional burst. I think it's they might if they can give him enough emotion to win to take one game in LA, that's good. That maybe that helps. That helps a little bit. But I'm really worried about that. It's going to be interesting to see him try to do that. So that's good. I mean, great stuff on the reporters on the stuff like that. We should also. They're not the only rookies going right now. I mean, you have Lane Hudson, who will probably win Calder Trophy Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely.
He had 2 goals the other day. He's been great since the trade. Mackie Samuskevich, former Michigan Wolverine, has been very good. He's been underrated this year.
Oh no, they love him.
He's the one that the little sauce to Bennett.
They love him in Florida. They absolutely the owners that manage him love him.
Samuskevich is he killed my dreams for Penn State 2 years ago when we were trying to make the Frozen Four. He scored in overtime, and I was that killed me. Jackson Blake is another guy on the Hurricanes. Has been great rookie this year. He has a point. And then you have another rookie on the Blues, Zach Bolduc. He's a big forward. Look for him on the power play. He's very physical. And then obviously we talked about Ivan Demidov.
Yeah.
So I think he'll get a point tonight.
I would if you're a gambling type. That would be the guy that I would go for that too, because
I don't know. You have that. He didn't really do much. How much ice time did he have last game? Like 6 minutes, maybe.
It was not a lot at all, and I mean, part of that was I don't think the Capitals took too many penalties. I think that they would see more on the power play.
Yeah,
but I think the Canadians are going to turn to him, especially if they lose tonight. Like they're definitely doing the conservative thing, which is kind of cool for Marty St. Louis, because he usually doesn't do that.
Yeah, like he's been really good with kind of throwing in the young guys and getting them to feel comfortable. I mean, you saw that what happened with Caulfield when who was the coach? Was it Claude Julien?
It might have been Claude Julien.
When Caulfield first started, I forget who their coach was.
I think it was Claude Julien. I think you're right.
And he wasn't playing well. He wasn't getting that much playing time. Got sent down to
definitely.
And once St. Louis took over, I mean, obviously Caulfield proved himself in the AHL, played good, got called up, and his confidence in his game just started to grow. And I feel like a lot of the guys on Montreal kind of see that, and they trust St. Louis. And that's ultimately why their organization kind of turned around once he took over.
I totally agree.
Like not dramatically, but you could definitely tell there was a switch in the mentality.
There was. I mean, and with those guys, it's kind of like the Michkov story this year. Like where with Tortorella, he was fighting it, and on and off. But when he was freed a little bit to do his thing, like Caulfield, when Caulfield was eventually freed by St. Louis. You just got to give those guys confidence, If you give them, especially if you're smaller in the NHL, like you gotta think your coach.
You have to play a game a certain way, and when you have certain talents that not a lot of people have, and then you go into a system where a coach may not like that, it doesn't really work, because then you're taking away your player's ability to play his game, which is why he's so successful. So
exactly. And a guy like that's not going to do anything else for you but what he does. Like that is just, he's not just going to he's not just going to take minutes up for you. That's not.
He's not go out there just hit guys. That's not his game.
I think Caulfield's magic power though is, I think of all the guys his size in the league that you look around, he and Quinn Hughes are the two best at avoiding ever getting hit.
Yeah, they stay on their feet for sure, and
they
also. I mean, we've talked about him a lot. Another guy that's also like that is Lane Hudson.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all because of their edge work. I mean,
they
do these like little fakes and you go one way, they're going the other way. So it's all about their edge work and their skating ability. And all three of them are very good at it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard. And that's why we're seeing a lot of smaller guys come in the league, because they have the ability to skate. It's a faster league than back in the day. That no one's. You have a few players in each team that can, they're known for being big hitters, but besides that, mostly everyone's just so skilled and fast that doesn't really have.
Before when what would happen is before the lockout year, like you could definitely interfere with guys more when they were coming into the zone. Your defenseman could hold a guy up more. And once that got taken away, then the small, fast guys became really powerful.
You can't stop them now. So
there's no stopping them.
Every year we're seeing more and more smaller guys in the league. So
it's still angry that the Flyers didn't take Caulfield. I was always angry about that. No big deal, but I still like him.
Fine, we'll get Higgins this year. It's fine.
There you go. That'll be fun. All right, guys, that's about all we have today. Luke, this is amazing as always. I really appreciate everything, and I appreciate all you're doing for the. You're welcome. Newest columnist, awesome, really good stuff.
Really
remember, guys, without the buzz, it's just hockey.